If you've seen my channel before, any of my videos on this channel, one of the things that I do like to try is to improve my trees in watercolor paintings. So I just wanted to do this simple loose watercolor, and you can see I'm starting off with the Hake brush just to get plenty of water on the top of the paper for the sky area. So I'm using yellow ochre, and now I'm just touching in some French ultramarine, which is always a combination that I like to do in the sky. And because there's quite a lot of water in there, I'm getting a lot of things, a lot of colours mixing, and the blues coming down and mixing with the yellow, which is quite nice. Although I don't know how much sky I'm going to leave in this painting. But I do want to inject quite a bit of colour. You can see I've already gone for the alizarin crimson. So there is going to be almost a misty sort of woodland scene. So a lot of these trees are going to be in the distance, sort of faded, and just some nice hints of colour here and there. And then I will go in when the paint's wet to add just a few little pockets of detail. And I will be leaving a little bits of unpainted paper as well, just give me that little bit pockets of light. So you can see, just I enjoy that alizarin crimson. So I've just tapped that in, and I'm just taking out just a few little bits here and there using this little bit of tissue, well used. So I'm just getting some nice different tones in there as well. So I just want some definition, and you can see how loose I'm going with this painting. I did actually forget to press record, but there we go. Sometimes these things happen and it is annoying. But I'm just showing you how I'm just adding some details now, and I've opted for the liner brush just because it does give that little bit of unpredictable mark. Rather than using the bigger brush, I want just little details, just a few definitions in the trees. And so I'm just adding bits of colour and just letting that pigment the paper is quite dry now, and so I'm just getting these harder edges as well. It's nice to have a balance of hard and soft edges in your painting. It just makes things look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, if that makes sense. And so just thought I'd do a distant mountain as well, just popping through. I'm just having a little bit of a gap in between two lots of trees, so it could be a pathway or a river, something like that. And then in the far distance you can see this sort of mountain. So it's quite a nice scene. It's quite simple to do, to be honest. And just having fun with the brushes and just banging in those colours and letting them mix. I did re-wet this side a little bit before I'm adding the colours, just so that it does diffuse and I get the same sort of thing happening on this side as well as the left hand side. The paper I'm using is actually a rough Fabriano artistico rough paper, so it gives me a nice texture as well. And you can see just adding a little bit of liner pen as well. And I will actually be using some of my I'll be using some of the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils as well. And you don't have to add water to the pencil. You can just go in, as I'm going to do with this one, just go into the dry paint and just add layers of pencil. So it's quite nice to do, and like I said, I'll be using some yellow to just have just a bit of difference in the painting. As you can see, I did actually get quite a large set of the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils, And they are quite expensive, so it's not something that I do use a lot of, although I do have a few different sets of different sort of pastel pencils and watercolor pencils. I've got the Derwent Inktense. So they are quite nice to use, and especially to have them incorporated in your watercolor paintings, just for a little bit of a change. If there's something you do struggle with to paint with wet medium, then maybe this is an option for you. You can always draw things in, just draw like in a normal pencil, and then just go along with a little bit of water with a brush and just apply that, and it'll activate the colour. So it is an option, and it's quite nice to use, as well as the fineliner pens as well, just to give a little bit of a different dimension to the painting. So I didn't want to I don't want to add too much yellow into this, but it is quite nice, and I'm getting a little bit carried away. I do like the look of this sort of coming through the trees. And like I said, I'm not going to be adding any water to this, so I'm just going to leave it as is, maybe just a bit here and there just to melt that pigment, activate it, and then I'm just adding a little bit more depth to the mountain just to let that stand out a little bit more. And I think also what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit more darker French ultramarine to the sky, just so it gives a nicer sort of darker look, richer in colour. One of the things that I really do enjoy when I do watercolour painting is these nice, almost melted look when you get that plenty of water on your pigment and just let them sort of blend out and almost disappear, just leaving a hint of colour. I don't know whether that's one of the things that you like, but if you do, please drop me a comment. I'd love to know your thoughts. So I do like these soft edges and the way that gives an atmosphere of itself to the painting. But I would love to know your feedback. I'd love to know your thoughts. How did I enjoy this one? Hopefully enjoyed this one as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.